Okay, Shavuot is coming up. We started. Okay, Shavuot is coming up next week, Bezrat Hashem. So we're going to speak about a few subjects that we're going to speak all around Torah and Chesed. So the first thing Yair wrote down on the sign is, how could it be that stealing is less worse, and not stealing, killing is less worse than not having a karat tov? So where does it? איפה זה כתוב? And the Torah it says, "Lo yavo amoni u'ma'avi bekal Hashem, gam dor asiri lo yavo bekal Hashem." The Torah says that you're not allowed to marry off amoni u'moavi. מה זה אומר amoni u'moavi? Amoni u'moavi, a person from the nation of Moab and Ammon that was misgayer, you're not allowed to marry him even 10 generations afterwards. But Mitzri ve'edomi, people from the nation of Mitzrayim ve'edom, after 3 generations, you could marry them off. Mitzrayim ve'edom, they killed the Jewish nation all the time. Mitzrayim, you heard all the stories in Leila Seder, and Edom, they're still killing us now. Edom is Esau. They're still killing us in Gaza, in Lebanon, and all around. What happened? And yes, and Edom, that's Mitzrayim ve'edom. Mitzrayim are still killing us, and they're killing. And there the Torah says, after 3 generations, you could marry them. But Moab and Ammon and Moab, what did they do? When Am Yisrael came out from Mitzrayim, so they wanted to drink and eat some bread. They said, "Could I pass by you guys? Lechem v'mayim." And they said, "No, you won't pass by us." Ammon and Moab, they are the sons of Lot. Lot is the nephew of Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu grew up Lot, and Ammon and Moab are kfui tova. They didn't have a karat tov to Avraham Avinu. They grew them up. So how could it be that's worse than killing? So that will be the answer for this. Will be in 10 minutes. So let's start. Once upon a time, 300 years after Am Yisrael came out from Mitzrayim, there was a time called Tkufat HaShoftim. Someone heard about Tkufat HaShoftim?
Yes.
Who was the first Shofet?
Yeah, after Yeshua, what was his name?
Eli.
Eli was the
Eli was
first.
the first Shofet, right? Eli was the first Shofet, הוא היה כהן ושופט הראשון. And one of the last Shoftim was Ovtzan. Ovtzan, someone heard that name? So I'll tell you another name. It's more familiar. Boaz. Someone heard about Boaz? Yeah, Boaz is Ovtzan. So like the end of Tkufat HaShoftim, it's 300 years after Bnei Israel went out of Mitzrayim, was a person in Eretz Israel, his name was Elimelech. He had a lot of money, was very rich. And it was a very bad tkufa in Eretz Israel. People didn't have any money. So people that don't have money, what they do, Yair? Go to the rich person's house and knock on the door. Could you help me, please? I need some money.
To this
And
day.
people,
Till this day.
Till this day, yes. So people knocked on Elimelech's door all the time. Elimelech was a very rich person, and he was one of Manigei Ador. Manigei Ador, he leaded the door. I don't know if he was the Gedol Ador, he was a Talmid Chacham, he didn't was a Talmid Chacham, I don't know that, but he had a lot of money. Because of that, he leaded the door, the generation. So a lot of people knocked on his door, and he had enough of it, so he said, "I will go somewhere else that people won't knock on the door." Where he went to, where did Elimelech go to? Moab. Yofi, great. People remember stuff. Yeah, high school. It's also good. So he went to Moab. Moab, it's a place that no one, אף אחד לא אכפת לו מהשני, no one cares from each other. No one knocked on his door. 2 of his kids, Machlon v'Chilion, and his wife Naomi, they went together to Moab. After a few תקופה קצרה, Midat Adin hit him, and he died. Elimelech died. So 2 of his sons, Machlon v'Chilion, said, Tati died. It's a good time to marry off some goyot. So they married off Orpah v'Ruth. Ruth was the daughter of king of the nation of Moab. They married him off. Why? How did he get such a good kala? So because Machlon v'Chilion were a very rich family, sons of Elimelech. After 10 years, the Kadosh Baruch Hu was waiting for them. Maybe they will do tshuva. They died. And then what happened? Naomi, the mother-in-law, the mother of the 2 sons that died, Machlon v'Chilion, heard that Eretz Yisrael, there's already food. You could go back to Eretz Yisrael. She said, "I'm going to go back to Eretz Yisrael. My husband died, 2 of my sons died. I have nothing to do here. I'm going to go back to Eretz Yisrael." 2 of their daughters says, "Okay, we're going to come back with you." So Naomi is convincing her daughters that, "Why should you come to me? I have no money. I can't get pregnant again. I'm already old. I passed the age. If I could get pregnant again, so maybe my son that will come afterwards will marry you off, but I can't get pregnant again, so why should you come?" Orpah said, "Okay, I'm going to go, goodbye." Gave her a kiss and left. But Ruth, said, no, I'm going to stay with you. באשר תלכי אלך, באשר תמותי אמות, אלוקייך אלוקי. I'm going to stay Jewish. And by the way, from this psukim, we learn all of the halachot of Geirus. Masechet Yevamot, all of the halachot Geirut, we learn from this psukim. That's one of the reasons we read in Shavuot Megillat Ruth. Why do we read in Shavuot Megillat Ruth? One of the reasons, because in Shavuot, the Jewish nations, like, they got converted, כאילו התגיירו, because we got the Torah in Shavuos. So Hilchot Geirut, this is one of the reasons. So Ruth said, I'm going to go with you to Eretz Israel. And then they came to Eretz Israel, and they were desperate. They didn't have any money. So she said, go out to the fields and look for a leket shikcha v'peah and start collecting some food. And Hamazal Hegia, and she got to the field of Boaz. Who was Boaz? Boaz was 300 years old. He had 60 kids, 30 boys and 30 girls. That's what the Midrash says. It doesn't say straight out in the Megillah, but that's what's written down in the Midrash. Okay, so he was 300 years old and 60 kids. His wife just died when they came back to Eretz Yisrael. The Megillah says, "Vayehom kol ha'ir." Okay, his wife died and he was looking for a shidduch. Boaz was one of the Gedolei Ador. Boaz was the head of the Sanhedrin. Boaz was the head of the Sanhedrin. He was one of the Gedolei Ador. And she went to look in the fields for leket shikcha v'peah, and she got to the field of Boaz. Boaz saw her, and he asked some of his slaves, tell me, who's this tzaddikus woman? How did he saw she's tzaddikus? Because she didn't bend down, she acted snoosley. Okay, and he said he heard that she's family, she came from Sdei Moav, so it's family. So I want this just to say, you have to know, Boaz was Naomi's cousin. Why? Because Elimelech married off Naomi. Naomi is his nephew. Okay? Naomi is Elimelech's nephew. Because Elimelech's... Niece. Slicha, niece. Right.
I mean, today it can happen.
Right. And Boaz is Elimelech's nephew, נכון? Okay, great. Okay? So, Boaz and Naomi were cousins. Okay? Bnei Dodim. Great. So that's how their family attached. Okay. So she came to the field of Boaz, and Boaz said, okay, take a lot of food and come only back here. Naomi heard, oh, I have family over here. And Boaz, listen, I want to ask you, please do me a favor. What favor do you want? Please go offer yourself to get married to him. I'm a young, pretty lady. This is an old man. What do you want me to get married to him? So he says, yes. 2 of my sons died, and the only way that I will have a future, if you're going to marry him, so he's family with my husband, so I will have future. So he says, okay. My brother-in-law, no problem. So she gets dressed up, and she goes in the night to the field, and Boaz says, היה לבועז הפתעה. He had a surprise. A lady came to the field in the night. Thank you very much. And no, I'm okay. And she said, could you marry me? So he said, I'm sorry. There's someone that's supposed to be before me, a goel. I'm going to ask him if he wants. He didn't want. And then he married her off. And the night they got married, she got pregnant. And then what happened? The next day? He died. The next day he died. Great. 61. No, 60 plus 1 in the way. Okay, and then he died. And when he got married, they had a whole party. They were singing for him. The Megillah says down that Simcha Elokim kerachel veLeah, yasim et hakala sheba kerachel veLeah. They had a whole party. So, who came out? Who was the baby? What's the baby's name? Rabbi, what's the baby's name?
The baby's name was
Isha.
No, Yishai is Ovad.
Oved, great. Oved הוליד את ישי, יש פה מאסטרים. עובד הוליד את ישי.
Oh, that's the last person I wake up in the end of the Megillah. We wake up and then we got...
עובד הוליד את ישי, וישי הוליד את דוד. Okay, so there's two tremendous chasodim that Ruth did. The first chesed that Ruth did, she's the daughter of the king of Moab. She could go back when her husband died, she could go back to her father. and she will have a lot of money, she will have a big house. No, she said she didn't want her mother-in-law to stay by herself, and she put herself to her mother-in-law. Second chesed that Boaz said, the second chesed that the second chesed that Boaz said, that she, instead of marrying off a young, nice person, she married off this old guy because she wanted to give future to her mother-in-law. That's the two tremendous chasadim that Ruth did. Okay? This is one of the reasons we're reading Ruth in Shavuot. Why are we reading Ruth in Shavuot? Because chesed. Why chesed? Echad מהקנייני Torah, one of the 48 kinyanim that Mishnah says in Pirkei Avot is נושא בעול עם חברו. So, נושא בעול עם חברו, that's what Ruth did. So let's go back to the question. What was the question? How could it be that killing is less worse than not having a karat tov, not being grateful, right? So why does people kill each other? I don't know, it didn't happen in Beit Shemesh, I don't know, but why? Rav Gershon.
I'm trying to figure out the killing is less worse. You're saying chesed is worse.
I think you weren't here in the beginning.
No, I wasn't.
You was? Okay.
Yeah. So why, guys?
No, thank you. Water, only water. Thank you. So why killing is worse? So it's like this. Killing is less worse, right? A white person kills, he got very emotion, the person gets very emotion, and he kills emotional. He gets very emotional and he kills someone. One day he's emotional and he kills, and the second day he's emotional, he builds a shul. One day he's emotional, he kills, and the second day he builds a hospital. One day he kills, and the second day he gives a lot of tzedakah. But the person that don't have a karat tov, his heart doesn't work. It's closed down. The chubeh. It's not working.
It doesn't even kill.
It doesn't even kill. It's not working. It's not working. The Torah says, Dor asiri lo yavo bika al Hashem. But that's only Moavi, only the men. But the woman, there's no problem, because the women weren't supposed to go out to give them food, because kol kvuda bat melech prima. And this is the lesson we learn from Ruth. Chesed. Chesed, that's the way to learn to buy Torah. And I just want to give one small example about chesed. We're going to finish the first inyan here. Chesed, giving out stuff, it's not so easy. But I learned from my sister. My sister, in Hebrew there's the word rechushani. I don't know how to translate it to English. Someone can help me here? Rechushani. Rechushani means someone has properties, objects, and he's very attached to his objects. He won't let anyone touch his watch, and he won't let anyone use his car, and he won't... Possessive, okay. He won't let anyone use his stuff. Please, you use your stuff, I will use my stuff. And my sister touched me just the opposite. She has 2 cars, and once upon a time I didn't have a car, and she calls me up, listen, you want a car for Ben Azmanim? You could take my car. You could use it. I went to the hospital, my wife needed to give a baby. She needed to give birth. And I put my kids by my sister, and she said, I'm telling her, in a few hours I'll be back. And then it took 2 days. 3 kids, 3 boys, and they're not so easy. Yonti, right? They're not easy at all. And she said, okay, if you want, you can stay here also for Shabbos. And my sister has 7 boys in a row, and the oldest one is 8 years old, okay? And 3 more boys of mine.
Catching up the boys.
No, so a friend... Yafeh, Gershon, Mavrik. Very nice. Also, my friend in Kolel, he once bought a car, and he needed to use it for a very specific use. In the night, every day, he needs to use it for a few minutes. And he convinced all of the friends of the Kolel to come and lend the car and use it for Shabbos whenever they needed and during the day. So that taught me not to be attached to the object and give it out. Give out. Let people use the stuff. To do big chasadim, it's not so easy, but let people use your house and use your car. In Israel, it's not so common to give out cars, but I think in America it's more common. In Israel, it's more common to give apartments and not cars. In America, it's the opposite. You give the car, but you won't give the apartment, right?
Exactly right.
Huh? I'm right, Gershon?
He's from England.
And how's it going in England? The same.
I didn't admit that.
Okay. So that's the first lesson from Ruth. Here you could stop it.